As a moving business owner, your day starts with a plan. But what happens when your movers don't show and that plan falls apart? Last minute no-shows. You're left to bootstrap, jumping in as an extra body. Yet sometimes, even that's not enough. This isn't just a disruption, it's a barrier to your business growth. Introducing Moving Force, your on-demand moving team. With Moving Force, say goodbye to no-shows and hello to peace of mind. With reliable, on-demand staff ensures you're never undermanned, turning your operational nightmares into a thing of the past. Moving Force, where every day is moving day and every move is smooth. Empower your business and keep growing without missing a beat. Join Moving Force today and move forward with confidence.
All right, y'all. So I know, unfortunately, Ryan couldn't make it today, but I am here again. For those that don't know me, I'm Dwight with Dwight Mack with Moving Force, as well as Max Moving Training. Um, and we're just going to get started today. Everybody's, for the most part, is at Moving Titans Retreat these next couple of days. So I'm a little jealous. I couldn't be there. But, again, Moving Force do plan on being in attendance in the near future. So just keep an eye out. Again, Moving Force, y'all, for those that don't know, we are your on-demand moving team. So whenever you guys are running short staff or just need extra bodies to complete jobs, we are your on-demand team. Just a matter of going on your phone, pressing a couple of buttons, and your labor request will be there for you. Almost like the Uber for moving. So, um, with that being said, let's get to it. Marketing, marketing, marketing. So that's been a huge, huge thing. Talking to a lot of moving companies this past summer and realizing that some of them still weren't having the summer that they expected to have. And the main number one cause from what I was taking in was marketing and how little it was for them with their marketing. Like they weren't really marketing anywhere. Oh yeah, we're just using social media. Okay. Or we're just using like Google Ads and SEO or whatever the case is. Oh, okay. Is that your only source? Well, yeah. And it was just like, hmm. Okay. I'm not going to say anything, but, on the spot at least. But, at the end of the day, knowing that you need to diversify your marketing and you can't shortchange your marketing because your marketing is what brings in the dollars. People shutting off the valve just because you got in the summer don't mean that you're going to have the busiest summer that you expecting to have. So I recently wrote a blog. Um, it was a little traumatic. You can find it on maxmovingtraining.com, but basically it was talking about how, essentially I felt like I was having a stroke, yeah. And basically what it came down to was it was how much money I was spending on marketing, but I was not tracking it properly. I was spending easily over $10,000 on marketing a year, but we were getting almost like 450 leads a month easily, but they weren't converting the way they should have been converting. We didn't know that some of the leads, like we were on top of like seeing if the leads were bad, but we didn't pay attention to how much we were spending on those leads that were bad. We would try to get credit. Some of these lead providers like, oh no, you put in too many credit requests at this point. We can't refund you back anymore. So you're just like, you know what? I need the volume. I need my phones to ring. I need, I have in-house sales reps. I need to make sure that these in-house sales reps have work to do. Otherwise, they're sitting here on their thumbs and I'm just paying them by the hour. And no one ever wants to be in that position. So, you know, you can go two routes about it. You can either cut your leads down and go with a call center and they can make your sales calls and whatever they book that you pay them for. But you got to be careful of that as well because basically some of them, take about 15%. So yes, yeah, it cuts down on your payroll costs, but if it's 15%, and let's put some round figures to it, if you making 100K that month, you gave them $15,000 to book moves for you. You say, dang, well, that's still 100K. But when you break it down, okay, you made 100K. Let's say your payroll with your movers, with everybody else is about 50%. Well, that's about $50,000 that went out to them. Now you paid 15,000 to them. That's 65,000. And maybe, your overhead isn't so drastic or crazy. Maybe you come away with, instead of 35,000, did I say that right? Yeah, 35,000. You basically come away with maybe 20,000 at the end of it. That's good margins, don't get me wrong. But at the same token, how much are you really paying your sales reps 15,000 in a month? We used to struggle with customers' item size and weights and the cost for inaccurate estimates. And we also ultimately had to cancel some jobs. It was when we found Live Switch Contact. Their video tool for quoting changed everything. We saved $5,000 in the first month alone. And our only regret is we didn't try them sooner. So you want to kind of look at it that way. Um, Also, make sure you leave a comment in the chat, y'all. If you have any questions on the marketing strategies and stuff like that I'm going to be sharing with y'all. But so if you're going to have the reps in-house, you want to make sure that they have sufficient amount of leads. Have a cap on how many leads that you want to have open. So like if you got 450 leads and you got maybe 3 reps or 4 reps or whatever the case is, obviously you're going to hope to divide them up evenly across the 3 to 4 reps. But at the same token, if you know that your reps have to do diligent follow-up, hey, we got to do a 2+1 where, okay, well, we're going to call this lead once in the morning, once in the afternoon, and then once tomorrow morning, then basically you want to make sure that they have enough amount of time. Now, if they take in, oh, well, we got 50 leads, I don't have time to call 3 times if they don't answer. I'm moving on to the next. And then we got inbound calls coming in as well. I'm moving on to the next. So now those leads start to fall through the pipeline, and then you start to see that, oh, well, we got a lot of bad leads. Well, you really don't have a lot of bad leads. They were good leads, but your timing, your touch points weren't spot on. So now you start to think like, dang, I just got 300 leads from this one lead provider and they're not converting. They're not really good. So now you start to put blame on them. You start to cut them. You say, hey, I'm not paying those guys no more. And in actual reality, they were really good leads. Your reps just weren't um they didn't have enough touch points and they didn't have it enough too soon. Like, okay, hey, if I'm going to call them at 9 o'clock in the morning, maybe I'm going to schedule to call this person again around 1 or 2 o'clock in the afternoon. And then I'll call them again at 9 o'clock the next morning. But instead, they was like, oh, well, you know what? I didn't really get a chance to call them in the afternoon because I was working so many leads. I'm going to call them tomorrow morning and then I'm going to call them tomorrow afternoon. Well, at that point in time, the other company already got to them. They caught them maybe in the afternoon of that first day. And it's all about who's able to get through that barrier first and fast. Because obviously now the customer is like, oh well, I kind of already talked to somebody. They kind of had a better price. They already gave me a price. Now you're going through this whole spiel. You know what? I really don't want to go through this process. I went with someone already. So it's all about, can you automate the system? Can you get a text message out to that customer as soon as you make that initial contact when the lead comes into your system? Be the first point of contact for them so they know that, hey, okay, somebody should be calling me soon from this company. That's one touch point. Now, when you call them, and hopefully they understand that you're going to call them because you sent them an automated message initially when their lead came in the system, so they're expecting your call. You're already ahead of the game. So as many touch points and as fast as you can get to that lead is going to help you close those leads a lot quicker. Now, The purpose of that blog that I wrote is it was meant to understand the 3 points of marketing, which is test as many marketing sources as you can. And when you test them, you're basically going to give them a 90-day trial period. You should be able to invest anytime you invest in any marketing sources, you should be in your mind able to budget for 90 days of let's see how this source do. And the reason for that is because you're under the first 30 days, you're understanding that lead source as well as um understanding how it's going to benefit you. You got it going into your system, it's optimized. You kind of want to make sure that that relationship between you and that lead provider is is working. You tied it all up. You got all the screws tied up and making sure that it goes into your CRM and everything like that. Everything is flowing smoothly. That's like that first 30-day initial relationship. Then the 60-day marker is like, hey, we're optimized. Let's see how this goes. Okay, we got about 30 to 60 leads this month. Okay, they didn't really close that month. They didn't really close the way I expected them to close. Okay, why do you think they didn't close the way they were supposed to close? Oh, well, they didn't close because I think some of the leads were so far out. Oh, okay. So they were like out of your radius, local radius. Yeah, yeah. So basically, our travel fee was going to be extremely high because basically some of these leads were like 50 miles, 60 miles away from our base location. So we were going to have to charge the customer maybe hour and a half to 2 hours of travel time. And we knew the customers weren't going to want to pay that. So that's that 30 to 60 day window where you're like, okay, cool. I'm gonna figure this out. All right. So let me speak to the lead provider. Let me get the leads honed in a little bit more to like the 30-mile radius or the 40-mile radius. So now you're only charging a half an hour to an hour of travel time versus 2 hours. Okay, cool, cool. Now,
When your team isn't trained, mistakes happen. Jobs go wrong. Customers complain. And your business? It suffers. At Max Moving Training, we help moving companies like yours build strong, reliable teams from the inside out. From mover and driver training to sales, operations, marketing, and leadership, we give your people the skills to succeed. When everyone is trained, everything runs smoother and your business grows stronger. Training isn't optional. It's essential. Stop guessing. Start training. Join Max Moving Training today.
now that you fixed that whole issue within the 30 to 60 day window, now you're looking at 60 to 90 days. How did that affect my booking percentage? Okay, my booking percentage kind of went up a slight bit now, but it's still my marketing spend is still absurd with these lead providers. I'm spending a lot more than I'm really making. Okay, now you can decide at the 90-day window, okay, hey, I'm going to cut cut these lead providers because these lead providers aren't cutting it. Or I'm making a lot of money by making those quick adjustments that I'm going to keep these lead providers now. And that's basically how you want to think of it from a marketing standpoint. So now, so that was testing. Now, tracking, again, tracking falls in line. Hey, are we tracking where these lead sources are coming from? If we're using Google and we're using our website, are we tracking exactly where these lead providers are coming from? And, are we making sure that, hey, we have maybe put a tracking number on these sources, our sources. So, like, if you have postcards, instead of people calling your main number and saying, "Oh, I found you on Google," and they had a big postcard in their hand, having a tracking number can definitely tune that in because if you have a tracking number, as soon as they call, it may say on the call ID postcard. Because you can actually, if you use a tracking number, you can usually put a name to that tracking number on your tracking site, and it'll pop up on your call ID and say, "Oh, postcard." So now when the customer calls and you're like, oh, hey, how'd you find us? They're like, oh, I found you on Google. And they called you off the postcard number. You're like, really? Okay. I'll just jot that down, postcard. Um, or your website or your trucks. You can have a tracking number on your trucks. And the tracking number on your trucks, as soon as somebody call you, it says, hey, trucks. And now you're like, oh, okay, so how'd you find us? Oh, well, I found you on Google. And you know darn well they seen your truck driving down the street because they called you off the truck number. And again, now you can track the ROI that your trucks are making you. You could track the ROI that your postcards are making you. You could track the ROI that your website is making you. Um, but be careful with your website because obviously, Google pays attention to that and the consistency of your web pages, um, which also helps you rank. But that's more of an SEO conversation. Um, so whenever you guys track your marketing sources, you can track it a couple of different ways. I'm going to share my screen with y'all. Da, 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 da. Let's see. All right, yeah, I know y'all can see my screen. All right. So you could track it a couple of different ways. You could track it from an individual lead source way, where you're basically looking at the performance of each lead on an individual base like this, which I always thought this way was a lot cleaner because you can actually see each lead and how it's performing. So on this top page here, we have Google. And Google gave us in January of this year, gave us 79 leads in January, 77 in February, and 93 in March. Now, how many jobs did we book off these leads? In January was 23, 13, and 25. So you could see that there was a dip before it went back up. So something changed in here. Now again, you're going to probably have another report in your CRM that tells you reasons why a lead specifically wasn't booked. Whether it was they went with another moving company, they were not moving, naturally it was a bad lead, or whatever reasons for not booking that job. So, but in January, let's just go with January, the move revenue was 27,000 off of 23 moves. Now, the average lead cost was 77.41. So now you could see that you have all your components here. You have your lead cost, how many jobs you booked, how many leads you received, and the revenue from it. Now, what you could do is you could say, okay, well, 77 times 79 is going to equal my marketing spend, which is $6,115.39. So now you know absolutely how much you spent on that one marketing source. And then you could say, well, my booking percentage was 29%. So some will say, oh, well, that's super low, whatever the case is, compared to, you know, uh, whatever they're comparing it to. Now, yes, you can say that maybe it's low, but you also got to realize that these customers have other options. With Google, they're looking at you, they're looking at other companies on that Google Map pack. So of course, depending on how you proposition this job for customers, oh well, um, we're going to just tell you the price. We're going to say, oh, well, hey, we'll charge you 180 for 2 hours. And then any hour after that, we'll charge you, 170, what do you think about that? If you proposition it like that, then the customer's like, okay, let me think about that. She's going to now go down the next listing and say, oh, well, that only took me two to 5 minutes to get a quote. Let me go ask somebody else. Oh, well, hey, well, we charge 190 and that's our standard hourly rate. Oh, well, the other company said they could charge me 180. So now they're playing the pricing war with moving companies, and they knew that they were able to get two quotes within less than 10 minutes. Well, let's call a third company. And at the end of the day, they're looking at who's the cheapest at that point, not who's selling value.
All right, guys, my name is Brandon. I'm with Max Move Management, and here's 11 steps on how to have a perfect move. The first one, the office should call, or your dispatcher should call the customer 2 days prior to arrival. The reason for this is just in case the customer has a closing on the house, maybe they weren't able to secure, a babysitter for the child or a pet sitter. You definitely want to call 2 days in advance. This helps the customer be prepared, and you make sure that you as well know that you're going to a customer that's also prepared. Two, the crew should also call the customer prior to arrival to the home. After the guys have already geared up, you got all your equipment in your truck, you got your address punched into your GPS, go in either the driver or the helper, give the customer a call or a quick text, let them know that you're en route to your location, and provide them with the ETA. This also sets the expectation for the customer to be back home just in case they want to drop their kids off to school. For the third one, look to keep the customer happy, break the ice in the beginning. So pretty much this means when you walk up to the house, knock on the door with your best mannerism that your mother taught you, or father, you knock on the door, introduce yourself. Hi, my name is Brandon. I'm the foreman. This is my helper. And you introduce the team that you have with you.
So now you have to put yourself in a better position when they call you. Let's say they call you number one now. The way you should approach it is, hey, so what we like to do is we like to get a little bit of information about our customers' move. We want to get the inventory. We want to, make sure you understand how our services work. And then we can ideally go into pricing and stuff like that. How does that sound? And if they say, I don't really have time, can you just tell me the price? Well, you know what? Maybe that's not your customer. And that's okay. Because basically if you know based on their tonality that they're just shopping around for price versus value, then at the end of the day, no matter what price you tell them, they're going to try to see who they can find cheaper. So you might as well spend the time, the quality amount of time on the phone with them and tell them, hey, you know what? Here's how our services work. Okay, we got a general idea of what you're moving. We understand from your side. You understand from our side. And here's the price. And they say, "Oh, that sounds amazing. Okay, and I understand your terms and conditions. I understand, you understand what I'm expecting of you. Oh, okay, let's move forward. Those are the customers you want." But all right, so nevertheless, so now you want to figure out what your average move cost is from this lead provider as well. So in this case here, out of 23 moves and making 27,000 off of this move, your average move cost was $1,173.91. So this average move cost is a very, very, very important figure to know because when you are projecting out for the year how much you want to make, let's just say that that's part of your goal every year. Hey, I want to make 700 and I want to make 700,000 this year, or I want to make $1 million this year. This number here is important. This 1117391 is so important because you're going to be like, okay, let's reverse engineer that $1 million that we want to make. How many jobs are we going to need to take approximately to hit that $1 million? So you're going to say, okay, 1 million divided by, and I'll do it up here for you guys because I don't mind. So we say, let me see if it lets me write on this sheet. Come on. I don't know if I can write on this sheet. Hold on. Yeah. Um, let's see. Okay, here we go. So 1 million. That's about 1 million, I think. Yep, yep. Divided by 1173.91. So that's gonna say, yeah, we're gonna format that to look like a legitimate number. So that's gonna say basically you need 852 jobs if your average move ticket is 1173.91 and you want to hit $1 million. So now you have to figure out how can I get that average move price up? I need to get that average move price up to 14 like this month here, we have 1480. 1480, if you put 1480 instead, it drops from 852 jobs to 676 jobs. That's a huge, huge, huge difference. So now you have to realize, okay, how can I increase my price per move so that my average move cost is higher so that I don't need to work as hard to hit in $1 million. So with a slight increase to your hourly rate, if you hit 1,700 average move costs per job, oh snap, that's 588 jobs that you need to achieve in a month. Now, 588 jobs broken up over 365 is, let's see, divided by 365. Oops. Is roughly 2 jobs a day. So again, can you not get 2 jobs a day at that point? Like we just reverse engineered the whole process. Raise your hourly rate, get your average move ticket to $1,700. Um, Divide that now into 365 days if you're operating the whole year and you don't have any days off. And you're looking at average of 2 jobs a day. 2 jobs a day, and you're at $1,700 on average move ticket, and you're at $1 million for the year. We just broke the system, y'all. So that's how you kind of gotta track your marketing. Your marketing numbers are super, super, super important. Um, but yeah, let me know if y'all got any comments on this stuff. I know sometimes a lot of the numbers can go over people's heads. Um, but that's basically what it comes down to. And then your marketing spend is another important figure. This marketing spend percentage here tells you that, hey, I'm spending 23% on this marketing lead. Now, you want to have benchmarks. Typically, your marketing altogether should be no more than 7 to 10% of your revenue. So if this one source is 22%, you're already above the 7 to 10% window. But you're going to average out all of your sources. If this was just your only source, you're probably in trouble. But when you average it out to the point where this lead source is, Angie leads, this lead source is 50%. So now we're looking at least 72%. And Quote Runner was 14%. So we're getting up there. We're getting very, very pricey in the marketing area. So again, you have to figure out which lead sources could you chop a little bit to get them into reasonable range so that you're not blowing all your money on marketing. Geez, guys, that $10,000 stroke I was telling you about, that's where it comes from. It comes from, we talking about 15%, 51%, and 23%. And what is that? What does that mount up to be? So let's say, so we say 23 plus 51. Come on. Plus 15% divided by 3. That's 30%, yeah. We need to be between 7 and 10%. Where the heck are we cutting 20% at? That's the next challenge, y'all. We need to cut these sources down. They're too expensive. That's that $10,000 bleed I was telling you guys about. That, God dang it. I need a band-aid for this. So, but yeah. So I just wanted to kind of share that with you guys this episode that you guys are bleeding. For those that aren't tracking your marketing, you're bleeding. And this is where a lot of your money is going. So make sure that you guys understand this marketing ROI. Now, whether you use a form like this where it goes by month per lead, y'all can even reference this if y'all want to create your own, or you can use a bigger marketing form like this, where you have all your lead sources going down one line and you're tracking them month over month. Now, with this one, you're going to have all your metrics here. Lead received, moves booked, move revenue, lead cost, cancellation revenue. Then they're going to do their own math, booking percentage, average move, acquisition cost. You can have it in this way and just lock your panels so that basically you can kind of just track them, track all your lead sources and how they're performing. So that is my 2 cents today, y'all. I hope that that wasn't too overwhelming. Um, Ryan should be hopefully back next week, and we'll still chop it up the way we've been chopping it up. But I wanted you guys to know firsthand that marketing is important, and it can be draining you as well as it can be also helping you. But it's only going to help you if you are properly tracking it. If you're not properly tracking it, you're bleeding. So, all right, y'all. And I hope y'all enjoyed this episode. This is Dwyght with Max Moving Training as well as Moving Force. You're on demand for every move. Y'all guys keep crushing it out there. We'll see y'all next week. See ya later.